Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing a Batman movie tier list. This includes movies that Batman was in, like the Justice League, and even Joker. Of course the Batman has been out for a while now, but there will still be no spoilers in this video. Now let's get on with the tier list. Now let's start off with Tim Burton's Batman from 1989. This was a solid movie and Michael Keaton did a good job of portraying Batman. Jack Nicholson's Joker was a solid performance too, so I think this movie should go on the A tier. Definitely the best of its quadrilogy. Now let's go for a more recent movie, Batman vs Superman. I really disliked this one, and didn't like the idea of the movie. It really just proved the sloppy structure of the DCEU at the time. I would say this is a C tier film. Next up we have Batman Returns, which I believe was Michael Keaton's final movie as Batman. To me this movie was kinda mid and forgettable, as I much preferred the original. Maybe I'm only putting it at B tier because I'm biased towards the first movie and this was slightly different, but to be honest I wasn't keen. Next I'm gonna go for the Justice League. Not gonna lie, I think this movie was kinda underrated and got more hate than it deserved. I quite enjoyed it, but some aspects and decisions of the movie I didn't agree with. I think this movie is a solid A tier, but not as good as the 1989 Batman movie. Now let's go for Batman Begins. I think this is the weakest in the Nolan trilogy, and should probably be on the B tier, but I have to say I enjoyed it more than Batman Returns, so I'll put it on A tier at a push. Next up is the first ever Batman movie from the 60s. This was the first Batman movie I watched as a little kid and I really enjoyed it at the time. This movie wasn't bad, it's just outdated and cheesy for a nowadays Batman standard movie. I'm putting it on the B tier ahead of Batman Returns out of pure nostalgia and how good it was for its time. Next up is Batman Forever. I hated this movie, and to be honest this quadrilogy of movies just got worse and worse. Jim Carrey the Riddler was extremely campy and cheesy and Two-Face was way off being played by Tommy Lee Jones. I'll put this behind Batman vs Superman on the C tier. Next is The Dark Knight. To be perfectly honest I think this movie is way too overrated but is still worthy of a position on the A tier. Heath Ledger as the Joker was classic and is the main strong point of this movie. I also loved Harvey Dent, and Christian Bale was amazing in this movie. Next we have Batman and Robin. First things first, this movie should never have been made. The acting is awful, and the storyline is so poor. By far the worst Batman movie. There are literally no strong points in this film, not even Arnie as Mr. Freeze. Poison Ivy was terrible and George Clooney as Batman was the worst possible choice ever. Honestly such a stupid storyline, and I'm putting it on the D tier. Next we have The Dark Knight Rises, which I wasn't honestly keen on at first, but over time I enjoyed it. Tom Hardy as Bane was an excellent choice, and once again Christian Bale was awesome in this movie. I don't really like Catwoman's character in this film, or pretty much anything. I thought this was a solid A tier film though. And finally, we have The Batman, which was absolutely terrible and belongs on the D tier. Just kidding. This movie was the best Batman film ever made, and I loved watching it so much. Paul Dano the Riddler was such a clever villain, and totally different. I also loved Robert Pattinson as Batman. This movie was different, awesome, and totally epic. As I mentioned earlier, I disliked Catwoman's character, but I thought she was alright in this movie, but I don't really want to see Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman again in the future. I also loved Colin Farrell as the Penguin in this film. Unfortunately, I've only seen The Batman once, but I cannot wait to watch it again. That's going to be all for today's video guys. If you want to see any more tier lists in the future, or want to see me upload more frequently, feel free to comment any suggestions, or games I should live stream, or movies I should review. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed, but you don't need to subscribe if you don't want to. Comment down below what your favorite Batman movie is, and I'll see you guys in the next video.